Hi, I'm Megan Sumner. I'm the Safety Director with J. Kozel & Son. We're out here in Victor, New York today on a job site where we're doing steel erection. I'm here to do a routine safety inspection, so follow me. So the building is roughly 33,500 square feet. When it's complete, it will be either an office or a warehouse space. We've got quite a few bays done already. We have our 4-man erection crew out here. They do almost all of our steel erection jobs. The foreman is Todd. He's been with us for almost 20 years. And then we've got Seth and Glenn, who are crane operators as well as fabricators. And we have Rick, who's also a fabricator. All of our guys have their OSHA 10 cards, as well as Todd has an OSHA 510 class, which is a 30-hour course for supervisors of construction. So to do my inspection, I use an app on my phone called iAuditor. It's been a really valuable resource for me. I can custom make the inspection forms with whatever I need them to have. So I can put all of the regulatory information in there. I can take pictures and put them in. I can put my notes in. And then it generates a really nice report at the end of the inspection. There's a ton of regulatory stuff that we need to comply with while we're out here working. This helps me keep track of that, and I'm going to go through and do my full inspection, and I'll take you with me to touch on a few of the big topics. The first thing that I usually inspect is personal protective equipment, or PPE. This one is really easy to do because I just need to take a quick look at the guys to know if they're wearing the right gear. Depending on what type of work they're doing at the moment, different things they might need are hard hats, safety glasses, face shields. If they're welding, they'll need their welding mask and appropriate gloves. And check their feet to make sure that they're wearing steel toe boots. And that's about all the different PPE that we require on our steel erection sites. The next thing that I look for is fall protection. This is probably one of the most, if not the most important thing that I check for. Not only because it can be life-saving, but because this is the #1 thing that OSHA will cite if they show up. So most of the time we're using a harness and a lanyard combo, so personal fall arrest. That's because we primarily work out of lifts. We're creating the tie-off points most of the time. So until that happens, we're usually in the lift. That makes it pretty easy for us to use the fall protection. Once we're out on the steel, that's when we start to use things like beam clamps, chokers, and other types of anchor points. The harnesses we use right now are Faltech brand. They're a pretty premium brand of fall protection. Our guys have to wear this stuff 100% of the time. So it's got to be comfortable, it has to be functional, or they're not going to want to wear it. We also use a double leg lanyard. That's so that they have 100% tie off. When they unhook from one place, they can hook up to another and always be protected. Next, I look at housekeeping. I just take a general look at the site to make sure that we've staged our material in a good spot, that we've given ourselves enough room to work. And I also look at the access and egress, which typically isn't an issue for us since we're constructing the building. But sometimes if we're doing an interior job, that can be a concern. Next, I do the electrical inspection. This is just a visual check where I look at all the cables, whether they're our welding cables or powering our other equipment. Make sure that the installation's in good condition, that they're grounded appropriately. Make sure that if they've been repaired, that they've done so to code. And that's pretty much it. That's a pretty quick little piece of the inspection. Okay, one of the lengthiest parts of my inspection has to do with the crane. We use a 1995 Halfinger articulating crane for our steel erection. We've got 2 guys that are certified to operate this. They both need to have their New York State crane license, as well as the new requirement by OSHA to have a federally accredited certification. So both of our guys have those things. Stuff I'm looking for with this, the first thing I look at is just the setup. Are the ground conditions sufficient? This is a really ideal site for setting up a crane. It's dry, it's pretty flat, it's nice and graded. I make sure that they've blocked off the swing hazard, which they have with the red rope here. I make sure that they've done their daily inspection. These guys inspect almost everything they use before each shift. So that's almost always been done, and any problems have already been found before I even get here. And then I look at the rigging. Todd usually does our rigging. We use wire rope chokers primarily. I just make sure that those are in good condition and that they're using them properly. And then I look at the crane operator actually operating the crane. I mainly look for making sure he's not pulling a load over someone's head. making sure that he's understanding hand signals and that the other guys are giving him good hand signals. So all of those things are so important for us. The reason that the crane portion is so bulky is partly because of the new OSHA standard subpart CC that addresses cranes in construction. That's introduced a whole new scope of rules that we need to follow, and we've done a ton of training to get our guys up to speed with that. So we focus really heavily on crane safety here. The last part of the inspection has to do with the safety equipment that we have available. I check to make sure they have a first aid kit that's stocked and easily accessible, and then I look for the fire extinguishers. So because we usually have over 5 gallons of flammables in our work area, just the welder generators alone usually have over that. We have to have an extinguisher within 50 feet. Our crane truck always has an extinguisher on it, and so does our work truck, and we usually have other vehicles here as well that have fire extinguishers, so they're always extremely accessible for these guys. And then the last thing I look for is safety documents. So things that I'm searching for are our safety data sheets for all the hazardous materials that we're using, and last but not least, our site-specific safety plan. So once I'm done with my inspection, I head back to the office and generate the report. That gets sent out to the general contractor, and we keep a file for ourselves as well. That way, if OSHA ever decided to show up on this job site, the general contractor as well as us would have documentation that we've done our due diligence and met the OSHA requirement to inspect our guys working on the site. If there were violations found, which there weren't this time, and there usually aren't because these guys are really good, they've got a lot of training, they know what they're doing. But if there were, I would usually do some type of retraining, and I'd come back out, do another inspection, and observe the work and make sure that the issues have been corrected. Almost all of the equipment that you've seen us using today, so all of the PPE, the fall protection, our rigging, and a lot of our tools are available from any of our locations, either the Tool Ranch or Kozel Steel locations, and you can either contact me or a salesman for more information.